Let's go! This is the Media Circus with your host Taiisha Bradley. Got virtual and live events to browse, pitch, and repeat so gladly. And she got that online subscription for publicity leads. One thing that's safe to say is she got what you need. As seen in forms of Journey and in shout out ATL. The Media Circus, grooving and we doing well. We want you to do better, that's why we here. Show you how to browse, pitch, repeat, let's get it clear.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome
international superstar, Miss Butta B Rocka!
Hello everyone, my name is Olethea Robinson, professionally known as Butta B Rocka. I'm an international top charting recording artist, as well as a producer, director, screenwriter, and actress. My new film, Finding the Perfect Guy, is currently streaming on 16 platforms and is translated into 11 languages. I'm honored to have received the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. I'm a 2-time best-selling author and playwright, as well as the host of Transparency Talks podcast, which airs on 6 syndicated international stations in London, Italy, Japan, Nigeria, South Africa, and Canada. I'm also a model. I've had the pleasure of working with Kanye West, Janet Jackson, TLC, Akon, Nas, Collective Soul, Zac Brown, to name a few. I was recently featured on Billboard's Hip Hop magazine. I was also a guest speaker at the Save Summit and was added to the Billboard, which was featured in Times Square with Miss Lynn Whitfield, MC Lyte, Mark Cuban, and Gene Simmons from KISS. I performed at the City Gala with Wesley Snipes, Randy Jackson, Mario Lopez, and Les Brown. And afterwards, Mr. Brown became my mentor, and I worked for him for 8 months as his personal assistant. I also performed at the LA2 with Jack Black, Alyssa Milano, Sheila E., Bootsy Collins, and I came on after the legendary Miss Dionne Warwick. Last, I am the CEO, founder of Artists Rock the Mic Foundation. My mission is to bring creatives together in the music, film, and entertainment industries to impact change in the communities across the world. We work to encourage and advocate through the influences of the arts. We strive to integrate educational programs, benefit concerts, and charitable drives, giving back to the homeless college students. That's a little bit about myself, and I look forward to working with you.
Yes, and welcome back to the Media Circus podcast. I'm your ring leader and your hostess with the mostest, Taiisha Bradley, celebrity publicist. Listen, with a sizzle reel like that, who needs an introduction by me? Okay, our guest today is Butta B Rocka, executive film producer, international recording artist, and creative extraordinaire. Thank you so much for being on the Media Circus podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. First of all, let's get into that sizzle reel. I love that so much. I feel like back in the day, I don't want to age myself, but back in the day, a sizzle reel was like the upper echelon of what you had to represent like your business and your brand. I think with, social media and everyone having so much access to video that people really take video for granted because, we're posting reels or posting on social medias a lot. But listen, the sizzle reel is what you need. Can you tell us a little bit about your sizzle reel, how you put that together and what you use it for?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was the celebrity guest speaker at this event, and it was an empowerment event for women, and it was before 50,000 people, and so they played that as my introduction. So I needed to, do a good introduction. So I created that sizzle reel for them for when I came out.
Yes, and you have so many videos and clips from different things. Did you collect them over time, or when it was time to do the project, did you like go back into your archives and try to see what you found?
I went back into my archives and started piecing things together. And every time I'll do something new that I feel like I need to definitely document to add to the scissor reel, I'll just continue to add to it.
Nice. Yes, that's really important. Documenting. I think that's where a lot of people could make it easier on themselves for like social media content. Instead of thinking of content to make and creating content, if you kind of document, your journey along the way, you'll have all the pieces that you need for content and things like that. Fantastic scissor reels. So kudos to you.
Yeah. It's also easier, when you're talking about yourself. I'm one that, I'm doing so many different things. It's easier to show you than to, just tell you. When you see the pictures and you see the stuff, you're like, okay, she really is talking that talk and really walking the walk.
Yes, yes, certainly. I agree. Well, let's get into it a little bit now that I fangirled over your sizzle reel. Those are things that I highly recommend that people have in like their electronic press kit or their media bio, which you sent me a link to your EPK, by the way. So that was a very nice touch also. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for that. So you do so many things. So let me tell you about who my audience is, particularly the audience here on the Media Circus podcast or entrepreneurs who either own like a business or a personal brand who are interested in using the power of publicity to get more attention to their brand, whether it's a message that they have, a story that they want to share, whether they just want to get out there and, and serve more clients. That's what I help them do through PR. And a lot of what I do is I bring people from the media onto the show to just kind of pick your brain and talk to you about like, what do you think is media worthy? Any kind of things that can help people, brands get into the media. And so you do a lot of different things across the media spectrum. So I want to break down this for the audience that's listening right now. So it's time to get pen and paper out, y'all. The difference between earned media, owned media, and paid media, right? Because you have a little bit going on in everything, not a little bit, a lot going on in each area. So the first thing is earned media, right? It's kind of what I help people do is to earn publicity, whether that be sending out a press release in the media, following up from you, whether it goes with pitching media directly, whether you want to be on a podcast and quoted in a magazine, any kind of publicity, that is earned media. And so I know that you have earned media. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the places that you as a brand have been featured, like any kind of publications, TV shows? Tell us about that.
Oh yeah, I definitely. Well, I do want to say this too. I have a degree in marketing and PR, so I, I have a little bit of an advantage, and I've been in the industry for over 30 years. So
Yeah, I'm close to that too. So okay, good.
up
We can
there,
talk about some little old school methods too. Okay.
but I've been listed. Man, there's so many different publications that I've been listed on, from Billboard to. Lord, I got a whole list of where I've been.
I would say like your top three
mm,
most memorable. Well, let's say most impactful.
I think the most impactful was Billboard, because I had never been featured on Billboard before. So, of course, as an artist, that's one of the places that you absolutely want to be on. I was on Pitchfork. Oh my goodness, you got me wanting to look through my phone. But honestly, I've been on a lot of different publications, a lot of magazines, international, nationally, and I and so many different podcasts and everything. Podcasts is like become like a major entity that it wasn't beforehand, but now like, it's major. But I've graced so many different shows and so many different platforms that I'm grateful for.
Nice. Thank you for that. And I know there was just so many like to mention. I'm like, man, you have been everywhere and all the things. So you have lots of earned media where you have been featured or been a guest in media. And then you also own a lot of media. So for those who are just learning, own media are basically what it sounds like is media that you own, like me having this podcast that is part of owned media. And so you have a lot of owned media in different areas as well. So do you mind telling us a little bit about that? I know that you have the magazine. I know that you have a radio show, streaming TV. Will you kind of break that down for the guests and let them know like all the different kinds of media that you own?
Absolutely. I own a company called Transparency Talks Podcast. I am on 6 syndicated stations overseas. I'm in London, Italy, Japan, South Africa, Nigeria, Canada. I'm also on iHeartRadio and all of the digital platforms, but I'm also on Roku as well. So that's where I am with that. And then I also have Defiant One's Teen Magazine, where I am the editor in chief. So that's my boys, both of my sons' magazine that, like I just said, I'm the editor in chief at. And it has been featured on over 365 various platforms and everything. And we also have a podcast, Defiant One's Teen Podcast, which is an award-winning podcast. So.
Nice. That is very nice. Let's talk about a little bit of each one of them first. So you smiled so big when you were talking about Defiant One's Teen Magazine. So let's start there. Can you tell us the kind of stories and topics that magazine covers?
Yes, it was created by both of my boys who, at that time, they was teenagers, 15 and 16. It's a magazine for teens by teens. Now they are aged 20 and 22, so they're changing the name a little bit. It's not Defiant One's Teen Magazine. It's just Defiant One's Magazine, and it is a publication that's for teens, by teens, and young adults. And they not only highlight all of the people in the industry, the influencers and, big celebrities and everything, which every cover has from day one has hosted a major celebrity, but they talk about financial wellness. They talk about health and wellness. They talk about so many different things that normal publications don't talk about. And it's near and dear to my heart because, again, it was something that our family started.
Oh, that's wonderful. Have a legacy. How do you find stories and features for the articles that you all create for the magazine?
Well, initially when we started it, which has been several years now when we started it, it was me contacting people that I knew in the industry. I've been in the music industry for a very long time. And so, it was me going back and using my resources. But then companies start contacting us. So we started featuring people from Netflix. And I mean, we feature so many. Alan Hearn from the Miami Dolphins contacted us. All these companies started contacting us to feature their artists and their actors and different things like that. Then we started having different models and photographers contact us to get their models in our magazine and stuff like that. So.
Nice. What kind of tips would you give to people who were interested in being featured or even quoted in like a magazine article?
I would say the very first thing is to have something that is newsworthy to talk about. If you're dropping a new project, that's something to talk about. If you have a new product coming out, any of those type of things where you're announcing or something or a big event is happening, those are the times that you really want to contact a company to get your stuff out there when it's newsworthy to get out there.
Okay, so listen, those are one of our vocabulary words on the Media Circus podcast, right? Newsworthy. So a lot of people come to me or I say, maybe you should consider, using PR, getting out there to talk about or sending a press release. And they say, well, I don't have anything that's newsworthy or I don't have anything to share. What's your opinion on what is considered newsworthy?
Well, like I just said, I don't think that you have to be a big celebrity to be newsworthy. Again, if you have a product and you have a new product that's coming out, that's newsworthy. It's your news, So whatever exciting that you have going on that you want to promote about you or your service, that's something that's newsworthy to me.
Right. So I also teach people that not only does it have to be news to you, but it has to be news to the audience of the place that you're pitching, right? Because we're excited. Mom and them is excited, right? But how does this affect other people? How does it help or educate or inform other people, particularly like the audience of the publication that you might pitch? It needs to be newsworthy or of value to an audience that you're going to put it in front of. But yeah, everyone has news. You have things to share. It's a lot about how you position it,
Hmm.
and where you're choosing to share your news. Awesome. Okay, so can we talk about so many things? So, your radio show, is your podcast broadcasted on like syndicated radio? Is your podcast part of the radio or streaming radio like a separate entity that you own?
It's broadcasted on their radio stations. So I send them the shows. It has to include, all of the commercials, the music, the whole 9 yard, and then they air it on their syndicated stations overseas.
Nice. Do you consider that, is that considered like broadcast radio? Because, well, not broadcast radio, streaming radio, because broadcast radio is old school, streaming radio. One of our previous guests, Quantal Langford, on the Media Circus podcast, has his show on a streaming radio show. And so for me, that's a little bit newer, outside of broadcast. We have podcasts, video streaming, but streaming radio. What do you think about the streaming radio industry and what that, has done or can do for like brands?
Well, I think it's wonderful because even mainstream radio right now, everybody has got online and is showing what's going on in the studio, and they're bringing the guest on because people are more visual. You're a visual learner. You attract, when you can see the stuff. So everybody has went to streaming for the most part. I mean, you're on the radio, but you absolutely can see you. So.
Yes, that's true. And then you mentioned a lot of different countries that your show was broadcast in already. What has that been like, having an international audience?
Well, it's been wonderful because I am an international recording artist and I have literally toured all over the world and started building, my fan base in all these different areas. It was really easy for me. Like, I started my podcast in 2020, like everybody else that needed something to do because COVID happened,
Right.
And actually, if I can go back a little bit further, 2019, I fell, torn meniscus, torn ACL, and I dislocated my shoulder. So I was off the road and I couldn't tour. And I had to do physical therapy for three times a week and learn how to re-walk with a walker for 3 months and with a cane for 2 months. So I was already sat down, So, and yeah, but that's when so many things became birth. But now fast forward, now it's 2020 and the world is shut down. And
Right.
that's when I started the podcast, Transparency Talks podcast. And initially I was just interviewing my famous friends and people that I knew. And then I started to realize, it kind of started becoming mundane because it was like, yeah, I work with such and such and such and such. And it was just all this name dropping and everything. And that was cool, but I needed to get a little bit more substance behind it. So now I feature people in the music industry and in the filming industry, which are both industries that I'm in.
Nice. So tell us where we can find Transparency Talks podcast, how we can support your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I mentioned, I'm on six syndicated stations overseas. I'm in Italy. I'm in London. I can give you the names.
Yeah. So you're on all the major streaming podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to your podcast on Spotify. I saw that there were links to iHeart. So it's everywhere, kind of syndicated. So good.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so is there also a video component of the podcast, like on YouTube or another video streaming platform?
Yes, it's on YouTube and it's also on Roku. And then I go live on Facebook. I had to move it from my Butta B Rocka page to its own separate page, but I didn't realize when you move this stuff, it doesn't let you move your people with you. So yeah, I don't get that. They let you create a separate page, but they don't give you any of your. It starts you from ground zero. So I'm still growing the YouTube channel for Transparency Talks podcast because it wouldn't let me take my people with me, but it's all good.
Oh, nice. So listen, then we need to get over to YouTube and definitely make sure that we subscribe and follow the podcast over there, so you can get your audience back, get a new audience back, because YouTube is where it's at. It is another media platform, and they've made it a little bit more easier for creators to get monetized, right now, with lower the number of followers, lower the number of views. So listen, some of us are plugging along trying to get that YouTube
I'm sorry to cut you off. I will tell you this, between all of the platforms that I'm on, I have over 1.2 million listeners that tune in to my show. So that's been a blessing, of course. And I'm still just building, but you can go to, on YouTube, you can go to @Transparency Talks Podcast. You can also go to ButtaBRocka.com and you can see any of the shows and everything from there. ButtaBRocka.com will get you to everything, every single thing that I'm doing, from music to film to everything.
Nice. And again, that website is another part of owned media. Some people might think that they don't own media just yet, but if you have a website, that you pay for, that kind of belongs to you, that's more of that owned media as well, which is a great place to house all of your other earned media, your own media, and then also some paid media as well, because I saw that you offer advertising on some of your platforms. Can you share with our audience, kind of how that works to be able to advertise on like podcasts, radio, streaming TV?
Absolutely. Well, so far since 2020, I've had over 475, and I know this number because I just looked at it earlier today. I had over 475 submissions for either advertisement, where they will either send me in their video and I play it on YouTube and on my Facebook, or they'll send me the audio. Now, they have two different options for audio. Some people already have their audio advertisement done. Some people do not. I offer to do their audio for them if they don't, and they just have to send me in, the verbiage for what they want for their advertisement, and it has to be, something that's quick, under 60 seconds, that I can do for them. So those are the two ways that they can get their stuff on there. And I also have it open for indie artists to promote their music. So I promote a lot of indie artists on my projects.
Nice. We love indie artists. I actually started out like my career in PR working with a lot of indie artists. Some of my background was in radio as well. So let's talk about this for a second. Listen, I have my notes and my phone keeps timing out. I would like to talk about storytelling a little bit because, number one, outside of all these fantastic things that we talk about, and I know that we are talking a lot about the media part of it because that's what a lot of, our listeners listen for. But you are a major musical artist. Can you tell us, a little bit about how you got started in your musical career and some of the projects that you have going on right now?
Oh, definitely. I've been in the music industry since I was 11 years old. Started taking it professional. Started doing professional and getting paid for it since the age of 13. But it's been an amazing journey. I've had the pleasure of working with from Usher, Akon, TLC, Zac Brown, Collective Soul, Janet Jackson, Kanye West, Lil Zane, from BMF, Nas, a couple of people, Dreams, and some more people like that. But I got started, I was singing in Tampa, and my mom was my manager. I was in a singing group called NOLT. And I don't know how my mom connected with a guy named AJ Alexander. He was the one that discovered Usher and he became our co-manager. So we eventually moved up here, and we was working with Bobby Brown's Camp and with Usher when he first got started. So all of those boot camps that Usher was just talking about, when he did the Super Bowl on Club Shay Shay and all that type of stuff, I was in all of that. So that's how I got started in the industry, and it's been an amazing journey. I've had the pleasure of literally touring all over the world, not only working with the people that I'm telling you about, but I myself, as an individual artist, tour doing my own concerts and everything, in a lot of different countries and everything. And it's been a true blessing.
Wow, that is amazing. So, one of your music videos, I want to share a little bit over in the screen. Let me hit my share screen. I want to watch a little bit of it if that's good. And then I want to chat with you about it. And that is your Strange Love video. I'm going to see if I can get that in the full screen. Okay, looks much better. I love the cinematography on this, the storytelling.
You didn't know what
Trying to
that
think
means,
about
right?
it.
Where did y'all come from? Where am I? You're in Butterland. Butterland. Butter who? Butterland. Butterland. Come with us. Yo. Who you think you talking to? And what you mean our love is strange?
Oh, my soul is down in my soul, like control. Oh, I'm so sick and tired of the lies, so I cried. If I died, would you care? Would you dare to take it there, or would you open up your heart from the start? It was over, but I see you couldn't see. My insane reality is that my love is so strange. But you know, it's how love goes. I said my love is so strange. But you know, it's how love goes. Girl, I'm sick and tired of playing those games. My pretty baby lady and I never claimed to have any game. My pretty baby lady and I'm sick and tired of playing those games. My pretty baby lady and I never claimed to have any game. Any game.
Yes, I love this. Listen, you better tell us a story.
Apologize for the lies in my eyes. You can see that I'm sincere, and I'm glad to have you here. Ain't going nowhere. Let me pamper you and wine you and dine you for all this just for you. For with everything you do, 'cause my love is so strange. Well, you know that's how love goes. My love is so strange. Well, you know that's how love goes. Boy, I'm sick and tired of playing those games. My baby, 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 I never claimed to have any game. My baby, 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 I'm sick and tired of.
All right. So listen, y'all need to go to her YouTube to watch the full video. I can sit here and watch it, but I want to save us some time. So I love that. Let's talk about the art of storytelling, because I love so much that the video is a creative piece. It tells a story, not only through the words and the music, but also the visuals. And I think that is very important for people to understand the power in storytelling. So will you talk a little bit about storytelling and how you use that, not only in your music and your creative arts, but also on the media side?
Absolutely. I am a creative all day, and I'm a visual person. So when I was coming up with the concept and everything, I know that I wanted, when you listen to the music is kind of mystical and kind of fun and quirky, and it gives you that ATL outcast type vibe and everything. And so I want, huh?
I said yes, yes. We were getting that. I was like, all right, give that old AT alien vibe.
Definitely. So I wanted to do something that represented, but I also, in listening to the music and everything, I wanted to create like a Alice in Wonderland current, type of video and everything. And I wanted the colors to be very vibrant, and I wanted, to see a band in the middle of the forest, and they're playing and they're singing in the microphone and they get amps, but in the middle of the forest, there's nowhere to plug up your stuff. You know what I mean? And to see the animal, the werewolf that's running, and he's different colors, and then when it comes back, he's a regular dog. Like, all of these things were important things that I put into the video to really make it, show that it was mystical and everything. And then when she's trying to get the band's attention and waving to him, and they don't even see her. And when he finally touches her, she goes into the warp hole and now is transported into their world and everything. So it was a really cool video and really cool concept and everything. Everybody seems to really love it. So, I'm really proud of the work that we did. And I strive to do that with all of my videos. My next one is going to be a real tear jerker as well. So, yeah.
Nice. I tell people that, the reason why storytelling is such an art and it transcends time is because, stories are memorable. You can tell someone something that happened in a series, kind of state out facts, and it's hard for them to remember. But when you tell someone something in a story format, it's much more easy to remember. Like I tell people, when a friend tells you something that happened, right? And then you go and you tell another friend and you telling the story, doing the animations and the voices and all things like you were there, right? Because that's how memorable it is. When someone tells you a really good story, you're able to remember it and tell it to someone else, and they can tell it to someone else and tell it to someone else. And you know what? That's publicity.
Yeah.
People learn how to tell you story good. A lot of ways that I've learned how to tell my story, kind of about me and myself, is by being a podcast guest. So I'm new to being a podcast host because, I'm trying to own some of my media. But I really found my voice and kind of my story and the things, that resonated in my stories with people is by being a podcast guest and just kind of talking through those. So storytelling is a major thing. So we're about halfway into the podcast. So we're going to take like a quick a 90-second break. That's quick for me. And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some streaming TV projects that you have. You have a film out, Finding the Perfect Guy, and I want to talk to you about that. And then you also have a guest on your podcast that I have a direct connection to that I want to chat with you about as well, because it is such a small world. All right, you guys. So we're going to go on a quick break, and then we will be back to talk about the rest of the podcast. Are you ready for something bigger? Have you tried marketing and you've spent all the advertising dollars, all the marketing strategies, all the social media strategies, and you are still struggling to stand out among the crowd? I would like to introduce you to PR, public relations, publicity. It goes by many names, but it's basically using the media to share your messages, to share your vision, to bring in more customers, more clients. You can use media and publicity to catapult your brand to the very top. What I'm doing is I'm taking out the middleman and taking out the pitches and introducing my clients directly to the media. So if you want to skip advertising, skip the social media ads, skip the word of mouth, and get directly onto podcasts, onto television shows, onto blogs, to being featured all over the United States and even further, you definitely want to give PR, pitching, and media a try. So if you're ready to stop playing small and to tell your story and see your name in the headlines, work with me today. You can visit my website, www.TaiishaBradley.com.
Looking to show some love for the Media Circus podcast with Taiisha Bradley, celebrity publicist? Here's how. Hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all the latest episodes. Leave a review and share your media wins for a chance to be featured on the show. And by subscribing to Media Circus Publicity Leads on Patreon, you can support the podcast and get instant access to publicity opportunities for TV, magazines, major blogs, podcasts, and even red carpet events. So what are you waiting for? Show your support for Taiisha Bradley and the Media Circus podcast today.
Yes, we are back for the second half of the Media Circus podcast. I'm your host, Taiisha Bradley, celebrity publicist, and we are still here with Butta B Rocka. The conversation is going so good. I feel like we talked about so many different things, and like you shared so many different jewels, and we're just kind of halfway in. So another thing I want to talk to you about is streaming TV. Now, streaming TV, I feel like has got really revolutionized over maybe the past 5 years or so. That I've seen that it's become a major part of the media mix. I feel like at first, people kind of, there were some early adapters to it, right? But then I feel like now everyone is really seeing, the accessibility and the power and reach of streaming TV, and so many people are owning, media in TV now. And so can you tell us, just about your journey in like the streaming TV industry? And then we're going to talk about your movie as well that you have streaming.
My journey has been good. I've been in the industry now, streaming films for 6.5 months. And my film is now on 22 streaming platforms nationally and internationally. So it's been an amazing journey for me personally.
Yes. So Finding the Perfect Guy is your film. And so it is on so many streaming platforms, like we can't even name them all. A lot of them I've not even heard of because I'm so new to streaming TV. I'm really vested in learning more about streaming TV and then also about streaming radio now because it continues to come back up. But I'm like, it's so undeniable. But will you name some of the platforms that most people are familiar with that they can find Finding the Perfect Guy on?
Absolutely. It first got picked up on Amazon Prime Video. It's on Tubi, it's on Plex, it's on Reveal, it's on Apple TV, it's on, I'm looking at the stuff, it's on Roku, it's on Nulu, it's on Play Now, it's on Discovered, it's on Watch VIM, it's on Anoki, it's on, I can't read that one. It's on ADN, which is Africa Diaspora Network. It's over in India. It's in the UK on TF Media. I mean, it's in a lot of different places.
Everywhere. And that's one of the powers of streaming TV is that, TV and film, it's really not a lot of barriers. You can be local, you can be national, you can be international with it. How has streaming TV just kind of revolutionized your brand presence and your reach?
Well, I mean, it's been an amazing transition for me. Like I said, in 2019, I fell, torn meniscus, torn ACL, and I dislocated my shoulder, and that took me out of the music industry for a minute and made me shift to trying to figure out what additional, talents and skills did I have. And so that's what made me create the film in the first place. Initially, I was going to do a series and I wrote 13 episodes. And when I found out the cost to film all of the projects, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to have to condense this and turn this into a feature film. And the process has been amazing. I mean, I had a cast of 32. I funded it myself. So it was some ups, it was some downs and everything. I don't regret anything. I ended up premiering it at Studio Movie Grill here in Atlanta. Typically for an indie film, you premiere Monday through Thursday. I decided to premiere on one of the biggest nights, which was, a weekend. I booked the biggest room. It sold out in 2 weeks. It was star-studded from Les Brown, and all these major people came out to, to see the project. And then I started getting a lot of different write-ups. And at that time, I didn't have distribution. But by the time I started getting all the write-ups from all these different publications and everything. I ended up getting 6 distribution offers. I signed with one. And like I said, it's been 6.5 months and I'm on 22 streaming platforms. So it's been an amazing journey for me personally to be able to share my story and tell my story. And you're able to really see from my point of view. I produced, I directed, I starred in it, I wrote it, and you're getting a taste of all of me. And of course, I put my own music in it. You gotta, well, of course.
The film score.
Of
Right.
course.
How would someone who wanted to break into, say, acting or just have the opportunity to be featured on TV, how would they promote themselves or pitch themselves to like an executive film producer? How would one reach out to someone? Do you like do casting? Do you work with people who kind of pitch you? How does that work?
Okay. As an actor, when you first get into the industry, I highly recommend going and getting acting classes. It's nothing like sharpening iron or learning, especially if you're brand new. And when you see other people and you see how they deliver lines and different things, it will challenge you to step up to the plate. So that's what I highly recommend. I am with the casting agency. My boys have been signed since they were 7 years old and have been featured on a lot of different um, platforms like Lifetime and all this type of stuff. And that's how I got started, because at one of the commercials they wanted their parents. And so that's how I got started working with them in different commercials and everything. But to get started, you got to put yourself out there. You need to get professional headshots. You need to get a reel. So I would recommend either getting in as a background. There's nothing wrong with being background and learning, the ropes and everything, learning the lingo and everything like that. And if not that way, then get on some of these student films or get on some of these indie films, even if it's a one-liner or whatever. Every time you go to a set, you're learning something completely different. No situation is the same, and you'll continue to learn and work on your craft. But I have several platforms that I've opened up to filmmakers. I have a private platform on Facebook where we promote different casting and everything. They can go to under the Facebook group BBR Indie Films. That's INDIE, Indie Films, and films with an S. I also have bbrmediagroup.com where they can sign up for my subscription and get notified of different casting. And then, because I had such an amazing experience at Studio Movie Grill, I now do a festival, BBR Indie Films, at Studio Movie Grill, and I highlight other filmmakers and their short films. Because, with a short film, I have a feature film. So my feature film got put on all these different streaming platforms. But short films don't make it to streaming platforms. And they definitely don't make it on the big screen. So I now have a company, BBR Indie Films, and I highlight different short films and put them on the big screen. And I have all of these different major people from the industry and all facets of the industry in the filming industry that comes out and talk to them and share their nuggets and share their gems on different things in the industry and how to prepare them for when they come out and stuff like that. So they can get all that information at bbrmediagroup.com. You can follow us on Instagram, BBR Indie Films, and that's how you can stay connected, and that's how you can get in the door.
Nice. And I'll make sure that we have all of your links and your information in the show notes. Let me ask you about this. I have clients who are product providers or brands that have services and also products as well. And a lot of things that I like to talk to them about is product publicity. Do you ever use products from a brand like in your film as a prop or, show those labels? Can you tell people a little bit about product placement in film and in like TV and in music videos?
Absolutely. We do product placement for sure. Because I have multiple products, from my own books to our magazine, a I naturally had my own products in my film, but we also had other products from other people. One company had their own water line, bottled water line, so they sent us water bottles. We had one company that had made their own clothes, so one of our actors wore their clothes in the film. We had a lot of product placement opportunities, and I also do that for my music videos. Again, I've been doing music and been out there for a good minute now, and I grace a lot of big stages and stuff, so I'm used to product placement anyway. But now that I have a bigger platform of putting it in the magazine or putting it in on my podcast or putting it in my films and other people's projects, that's absolutely, if you have a product, you should be talking to the filmmakers, you should be talking to the directors and all these people, the actors. You need to get your stuff out there because they will put it in a bigger light, and put it in front of their people. So yeah, product placement is very important. It's a pivotal point to me if you're trying to get out there.
Right, definitely for product publicity if you have a brand. I think that is one of the things that people don't think about that often,
Mhm.
is placement, in movies, features, things like that. So we are going to watch the trailer of Finding the Perfect Guy, talk a little bit more about that, and then we're going to talk about the podcast, and then I would like to close out with talking to you about the Rock the Mic Foundation. How's that sound?
That sounds wonderful.
Great. So let's get Finding the Perfect Guy. Let's get this trailer queued up. Listen, I love TV, film, movies. Like I watch TV all the time. So I'm so excited to talk about this. All right, let's get this trailer going. All right.
Two handsome sons and a notable singing career until it all came crashing down.
Yesterday. And today he's married.
Why did you do this to us?
With the help of her friends, who was picking up the pieces.
Can you find him?
Yo, I'm gonna have to call you back, bro. I see something.
Nice.
What are you doing?
Making your profile.
Don't make me no profile. I don't want to be on none of them dating apps. You today are crazy.
Is something wrong?
No, in your photo, you had on a yellow dress.
You don't like my dress?
No.
What's it? What? I'm good men.
Show me your mode. Excuse me, Winona Ryder.
It's a different world of dating when you become single after 15 years of marriage.
I now I thought 21 minutes some wine, you got. That's some yeah. That's a date there for you.
My last date was Omega, Omega, Omega. Why are you whispering?
That's cool, but this is an emergency. Come get me now.
Are you already trying to set me up with somebody else?
Hope the problem is not your modem, but must be from the wiring outside. You know where your box is located? If not, I gave Uncle Tom's address.
Who the hell are you and why are you on my property?
I'm here to pick up your needs. I don't want to do nothing to think about. No guys at all. Come on.
Frank, we need to talk.
Excuse me.
I got it, please. I can hold it.
Why can't I find me a man like Denzel? An honest man, a fine man, a family man.
Audi 5000? You have a good job, Betty Hips. Now, where is you planning on taking my niece? Golfing? We don't golf. We putt-putt.
Nobody said it would be easy finding the perfect guy.
I hope he remembers what he came here for. The Wi-Fi, not a wife.
Nice. Someone did that for a moment. I had to keep myself from chuckling over the audio. Good. So that is finding the perfect guy. What inspired you to create this film? Is it based on a true story, or are you just trying to tell the story of a lot of women out here? I've been married for a while. I'm with my high school sweetheart, but my single friends tell me it's kind of rough out there. So, what was your inspiration for this film?
Well, I'm married now, but I was previously married for 12 years. And when I got divorced and got back out there into the world, oh my goodness, it's completely this 2020 dating is a whole different beast. And I was like, oh my. So, some of the characters are people that I personally experienced, or some of the characters are people that I know from other people that have experienced them. So when you or watching the film, you'll definitely be like, yep, I dated one of those. I dated him. I dated him, type of thing. It's crazy.
Nice. That's fantastic. So you guys, watch Finding the Perfect Guy. If you're not out there looking for anyone, you could definitely get some laughs, because I was chuckling so much. I can't wait to watch the full film. And then also, listen, if you're out there finding the perfect guy, maybe you can find some relatable, find some tips in there. So
Yeah, definitely.
please support the film, stream it, and support it. Fantastic. So I wanted to talk to you about, let's see, one of your podcast guests on November 13th, 2023, Big V from Nappy Roots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's from Kentucky. So that was real cool because I'm from Kentucky. Now he's from Lexington or something, and I'm from Louisville, but still the same.
Bowling Green, right?
Okay, Bowling Green. I knew it was something. But yeah, he's really cool guy, very laid back and everything. I had an amazing interview with him. He's doing some awesome stuff. He actually, I think, just had a listening party or something up here in Atlanta, and yeah, he's doing some really good things.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of listening parties. Actually, one I'm hosting here soon. I was going to share let me see if I can share the video of from the listening party. Let's see. And then we'll talk about, listen, we'll tell you a funny story about how I know Vito, but let me see if I can go ahead and share it since you missed the listening party. And I was going to share that. All right, share screen. Listen, I'm getting a little bit better with the sharing.
My listening party, like UGK, Outkast, Nappy Roots, everybody in there. Yeah, this one of them. All my life been po. Well, today is plugs, don't take pictures. Come do something now. Tennessee, let's show I am. Let's listen good.
Oh, it's playing again. We're gonna stop this shit. So funny you said about the listening parties. I was going to share that. He's doing a listening party in Tennessee, in Smyrna, Tennessee, April 13th, and I am one of the hosts of that. So let me tell you a funny story on how I know Vito. So back when I was in college, I had an internship at the radio station. Of course, different artists come to town and you have different events. And so this event we were doing with Nappy Roots, and it was like a skate party. And I'm going to tell you how long ago this was. It was a Harlem Shake contest between the kids. And Nappy Roots are going to be the judge. So that kind of lets you know, like, way back, this is in the 90s. And that was my first kind of exposure to Nappy Roots. We had such a great time. They were very, very new. So everybody was really regular, and so we just had such a good time. And that's how I got, to know the group and to follow them and become a fan. So all of these years later, I was hosting an art show. And I was enlisting a lot of the local Black artists in the area. And one gentleman, he does like film, not necessarily film, but plays in theater. Sean Witzel was directing a play at the Arts Center that I was the marketing manager for, right? Okay, so full circle. anyway, he introduced me, got me connected to Vito to come be a part of the art show. And so he came, he's part of the art show. He got on the mic, did this great version. I think he did folks. Yeah, to the acoustic guitar with another gentleman here, and then after that, I hosted this event with him called Crunk Karaoke. So it's like karaoke, but with the cussing in it. So that was such a good time, and ever since then, like I've stayed connected to Vito, and so when there are publicity opportunities that come across my way that he's a good fit for, I kind of send them over his manager Patrick. So we've kind of like become like business friends over this time, and it's so funny that it started like a long time ago, and that I'm back like kind of in that space. And so I thought that was so cool when I was going through and listening to your different episodes. I was like, okay, Vito.
Cool. That is cool. He's a really wonderful guy that's doing some amazing things.
Yes, he is. And he is just like hip hop legendary, doing a lot of film. Again, I remember everybody's next streaming TV and streaming film spaces. He has found like almost like a second career at doing film scores and being in film. So again, like this streaming media, where the people have the power in their hands a lot to create what the people want and to include people in there, because a lot of who I work with and what I do is people of color, because our voices are so marginalized in the media. A lot of times it's just really hard opportunities. I can remember being little and not seeing people that look like me on TV and films and in commercials even. It still floors me now with that commercials are so different. So kudos to you and Vito for you guys taking this TV film thing and creating another lane and a whole level of visibility for creators of color. So shout out to Vito, Big V. I'll see you in a couple weeks. So last but not least, I would love to talk to you about the Rock the Mic Foundation, because in addition to being all these fabulous things that you are also such a philanthropist, have a heart for helping. And I love that so much. A lot of the people that I connect with, that I really vibe with are some kind of purpose-driven person, where it's just always some kind of purpose behind them. So it was, not to my surprise at all that you are so involved in like helping. So can you tell us about the Rock the Mic Foundation?
Yes, absolutely. It's called Artists Rock the Mic, and
sorry.
No problem. And we throw concerts for college homeless students. Basically, I take national recording artists and indie artists and put them in a pot. We throw amazing concerts, and at each of the events, we'll collect different things. So, like, we'll have a coat drive, or we'll do a can collection drive, or we will collect blankets, just various things that we'll collect and give those out to the different schools and the different people that we're partnering with and stuff like that. So yeah, we've been doing that since 2014. And it started, there was a young lady that was out, she was in the parking lot from a show that I had just did. And she was asking for some money and was telling me that she was homeless, but she goes to Kennesaw State and she's on a scholarship, and that didn't make any sense to me, And I'm like, well, how are you on a scholarship and you don't have money, and you're homeless, type of situation. And come to find out, just because you have a scholarship, sometimes your scholarship doesn't cover your room and board. Sometimes it just covers, certain things. And so come to find out, Kennesaw State they had 1,500 students that were homeless at that time. And that blew my mind. And so I started contacting a lot of different people that I knew. We do concerts and we do open mics all the time. And when at an open mic, you ain't getting paid for it. You're just getting up there for the love of the music, type of situation. And so I'm like, okay, if we could do that, then we can do something to help other people. And I think that when you are in a position, it's your duty. Well, for me, it's my duty to reach back and help people, along the way. And I do that. So
Nice. Thank you so much for what you do with that. Is just something that I've not heard of, and it was so interesting. When I was signing, I was thinking, homeless college students, like, how does that happen? But we know with this economy, like, nothing is far-fetched anymore. There's just so many people who are part of the working poor, and why would this not pertain, to students who are trying to get an education, to do other things. So thank you so much for doing that. Trying to share some images from some community events that you have done. How can we support you with Artists
Rock the Mic. You can go to www.artistrockthemic.com, and artist with an S, because it's more than one. Artist Rock the Mic. and contact us. And again, you can contact me on everything branding wise. Butta B Rocka. That's BUTTA B ROCKA. So that's website, social medias, everything. You can reach me at Butta B Rocka. And again, it has all of it. That's my hub for all of my projects. So it has every piece of way you can contact me.
Yes, and that was definitely down in the show notes. This has been such a good conversation. I feel like we've covered so much in this 1 hour. So thank you so much for being a fantastic guest. At the end of my podcast, I like to ask my guests this question. And so my question is, if you could be featured anywhere in the media right now, where would that be, and what would the headline be?
I really want to get on Rolling Out or on Sheen Magazine. Those are two magazines that I really want to get on. And headline, I don't know, Superwoman is back. I don't know.
Listen, Sheen Magazine and Rolling Out.
I don't know what the title would be, but because I am doing a lot of different things, so it would just depend on which thing I want to promote at that time. So
right, nice. Well, we're gonna hope that for you, and we're gonna have Sheen Magazine and Rolling Out listening. Get our girls on the cover. Get her a fantastic headline, because you definitely deserve it. Thank you so much for just being a pioneer in the media industry. You have a very, very long career in it, legendary. We love everything that you're doing. You're so inspiring to, all these creatives. And thank you for being a part of the media space and, using all these mediums of communication just to show representation, diversity, creativity, music, even philanthropy. So we really appreciate you for that. Kudos to you and everything that you do.
And I just want to say thank you, so much for having me on this platform. Again, I don't take not one platform for granted. So thank you for introducing me to your audience and everything. And I hope you guys were able to get some type of nuggets from what I've said to you.
Yes, lots of nuggets, big nuggets. Listen, we take notes here on this podcast, and we discuss. So that has been another episode of the Media Circus podcast. I want to thank you guys for listening in. I know that you've learned a lot. Please make sure that you review the show and put your comments below. Rate me, share me, everything. I definitely appreciate it, and I hope this was helpful for you. Until the next episode. Bye, guys.
Let's go! This is the Media Circus with your host Taiisha Bradley. Got virtual and live events to browse, pitch, and repeat so gladly. And she got that online subscription for publicity leads. One thing that's safe to say is she got what you need. This is the Media Circus.